Welcome back, everybody, to Ravenstar's Witching Hour. I'm your host, Solaris BlueRaven. I'm here with my wonderful guest tonight, David Adair. And David, we were touching base on your quote-unquote kidnapping. Look, you want to continue on?
Yeah, it's God. It took Art Bell coast to coast in 1990. It took us. We started at 11 p.m. and we finished at 5 p.m. at 5 a.m. It took us 7 hours for me to tell my story, and that's the thing that bugs critics and other people, that if you're going to tell a story, a lie, you pick something a lot more simpler, not something that stretches over 7 hours. I have to tell a host of characters that's involved, agencies, all this detail. That's just it, all this detail.
Yeah, we can condense that or shorten it up or move to another topic if you want to.
Simple. If you don't know my story, first thing I would recommend you do is go to www.america, that's with an S, AMERICAS, americasfallfromspace.com. That's my website that was just assembled and put up for me by a producer, Cindy Pruitt, who worked for 13 years with New Line Cinema. She was an executive, and she opened her own production company called Human Race Productions. And she came at me with a vengeance, like Dr. Alan J. Hynek did with the UFO community. He was a debunker in the beginning. Then as he really dug, he became one of the best supporters of the UFO community. She started off as to debug me or debunk me, and she just had the tenacity of a T-Rex. So I thought, that's just the kind of person I really do need to do a documentary on me, because she's definitely not biased. So she started. I said, if you're willing to do the time and the money, it's going to take us a lot, because it's a really big story, and it covers 7 states, and we went to 7 states, 2,500 miles, back 42 years, and guess what? We found more stuff than I thought we would. We found hard stuff, evidence, and that's what's been driving people crazy with my story. There's all these websites on me, I mean a bunch, and I don't know any of these people. I've never met them.
Oh, God.
And they got some interesting variations of the story, and it's kind of like oral tradition, where you tell a story to another person, and you get your history recorded that way. In this case, even with Art Bell with 7 hours, I left tons of stuff out, details, which is vital if you want to prove the story. So they didn't have that, and now people make up stuff on the internet to try to finish the story, just find it. I like my critics. I think they're very smart. And the thing they criticize me about is exactly what I left out. So all I can say about my critics are they're really smart, very smart people. And I admire them, because I've lived the story. I don't even believe it. And somebody doesn't believe it, I just says a lot of good things about you, that you got a brain, you're thinking through this. But in a capsule, my story is, from age 12 to age 17, I built a rocket that doesn't exist today, still don't exist. 2 rocket engines in the world is all that we got. Solid fuel, liquid fuel, that's it. There's no other type of rocket engines on Earth. NASA, the European Space Agency, China Space Academy, Soviet Union, all they use is liquid fuel or solid propellant. That's it. I built a rocket that was neither one. This rocket had an electromagnetic fusion containment engine. And boy, that starts controversy right there with that statement. Because first thing science people say, you can't build a fusion containment device small enough to fit into a rocket that's only about 12 feet tall. And I'm going, oh yeah, you can, because you guys are back on the wrong design. You have been for 75 years. I already told you that the key to this thing is the magnetic coils and how you shape the fields. So anyway, yes. And also, all the people that's working on this project, even like CERN, you know what that is. Look how big that thing is.
Right.
You could build something that can perform like CERN that would fit in a backyard. You know, it's gigantic. The reason they go this route, they get contracts, they get grant funding, and so they build it colossal in size, and they can work on it for 40 years and retire. So they build these devices so large, so they employ a lot of money, make a lot of money, and can career out on the thing rather than getting it done.
Right.
And that's why they're still on the wrong design. I just found a different way of doing it. And put in a simple, complex term, there's multiple ways to get to it. For instance, 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. 3 plus 3 equals 6. 5 plus 1 equals 6. There are multiple paths. My path is just different, but it happens to work. And I can't believe I'm the one that found the pathway, but I guess my math was good. So anyway, in a nutshell, I built a fusion containment rocket. And I did not build it in a backyard garage. Not hardly. I had a 4-star former chief of the Joint Chiefs, a 4-star Air Force general named Curtis LeMay. He was a project manager, and then his XO, Colonel Arthur Bailey Williams, Congressman John Ashbrook of Ohio, who was also involved in this thing, and there's a list of a lot of other people. And General LeMay, look him up on the internet. You people really do need to know your history. America's knowledge of history is just dismal. It's just, they're morons. And I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but it's just amazing what you don't know that you should know. General LeMay was the general sitting with the nuclear switch in his hand in the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was signed to his position by President John F. Kennedy himself. If you pick up his biography book, Iron Eagle, you'll see a picture of him being sworn in by President Kennedy. And this is the guy that was my project manager. And that's where the controversy started. Because I left a lot of stuff out. A good obvious question is, how on earth did a 12-year-old boy get to know a general of that power? And that's a dang good question. And it raises a lot of credibility problems. But here's how it happened. And I can prove this in a court of law. My mother went back to work because my dad was injured, and she's 40 years old, and she went from a candy striper, nurse's aide, well, candy striper, nurse's aide, and then she became went to college, an LPN. And she was the first female CC technician, coronary care technician, in the state of Ohio in Martin Memorial Hospital in 1966. That's way back there, y'all. It was a big deal having a coronary care technician. It was a state of the art. So she worked, her favorite shift was 11 p.m. to 7 in the morning, graveyard shift. And she was taking care of 2 patients that were in their 90s. Their names were Irving and Arizona LeMay. They had a son named Curtis, the 4-star general. And my mother was taking care of Irving. And LeMay would come in at 3 o'clock in the morning because he had a paparazzi problem, even in 1956. So he'd come in to see his parents with nobody there, and my mother's in charge of the floor in the units. And so he got to know her really well. They became friends. Then one night, he's been talking to her, and he asked, you have children, and she said 3 boys, but the youngest one's odd. That's me. And he goes, well, what's he doing? Well, he builds all these rockets that fly like crazy. And he says, wow, and she started describing them. And these are not model rocket kits. These rockets are 8-9 feet tall, and they reach out to the 50,000 feet. That's 10 miles up. And it's a very sophisticated cryogenic liquid fuel rocket engine.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next question the person asks, how is that possible? How could he, what did he have access to? And then you get another part of my story. It just goes on and on and on. And at first, it's incredulous when you hear it until you hear the story. And it starts answering things. So anyway, back to my mother and General LeMay. She took that notebook, the 93, 96 pages of it, and she showed it to General LeMay. Holy moly. He takes a look at that. Now, General LeMay is not just some, big general, knows how to shoot and blow up things. He's very intelligent. Did you know? He designed and created the B-52 Stratofortress.
Nice.
Is the founder of SAC, Strategic Air Command, our nuclear deterrent systems. This guy is a huge heavyweight. So when he looked at that mass, he had enough knowledge to know what it was. And he turned to my mother and just asked real innocently, do you have a copier? He copied thank God he only copied about a third. And then he took those pages with him, and he went next day straight to Battelle Memorial in Columbus, Ohio. That's, look that up on the internet. It's a gigantic think tank like RAND. Mm-hmm. And they, at that time in 1966, they had 137 Nobel laureates on the staff.
Wow.
This is huge. They looked at it and they went, who is it? LeMay first asked, is this stuff coherent? And it was just, and they looked at it and they said, oh, man, it's real. Who's doing this? Thinking, some kid flying these rockets out in the cow field of Ohio. Holy moly. So life was not the same. He brought several people to visit me, and then finally on January 6, 1968, I get a knock on my front door, and it's Colonel Williams, and he's the XO of General LeMay. And he says, I'm here to help you prepare to build your electromagnetic fusion containment engine. What do you mean prepare? That's going to cost a lot. And he goes, well, don't worry about it. General LeMay might have been retired at the moment, but he carried the full impact of what he was, and it didn't change in anybody's minds. So he was still very heavy in charge with the Iron Triad. You ever heard of that? Mm-hmm. That's your commercial, military, industrial complex. So Colonel Williams and I, we start laying everything out. And like I said, I didn't build it in a backyard, tinker shop. My parents bought this property, and the house was sitting on it. And at the other end of the property, this just came with it. It was a big commercial garage that was closed down. And that was my lab. Well, when LeMay showed up, he brought in an army of people, literally an army of people. And they redesigned that shop till it became state-of-the-art equipped laboratory. And that became the primary assembly lab for the engine.
Nice.
Now, all the components and everything that was being involved in materials, give you an idea, I saw labels on packages and boxes that would come in. We'd send things out, and they'd come back, and everything's modularized. So different people were working on things, but they didn't know what the whole thing looked like. And there was labels, addresses, Lawrence Livermore Laboratories, Los Alamosis, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Battelle Memorial, RAND. I had a legion of people, places that were working with this on me. Mm-hmm. I was laying out the math, which gave the parameters of what we would design. So, so the critics are right. I couldn't have built it in the backyard. You're absolutely correct. And I couldn't do it by myself. Yeah, once again, you're right again. My critics are smart. So we had all that going, And it took me 26 and a half months from start to finish. Now, here's another hard evidence. Colonel Williams, if you would call the probate judge in Maryville, Tennessee, you will find that a couple years ago, I was the executor of Colonel Williams' estate. So if I thought, well, she's going to dig and she's going to, yes, I thought, if you got, she's like a fox molder. So I said, if you think you're confused now, just wait. So she asked where we're going first. I said, to Mount Vernon, Ohio, to Martin Memorial Hospital. That's not there anymore. But the retirement company is, my mother's benefits would be there. Oh, yeah. So we went and talked to them. So on camera, the archive record keeper is trying to find my mother's records, and she goes, they're not here. I know they were here. I've seen her name. I know her. Her records are gone. I said, so Cindy asked me, what's up? I said, that's LeMay. He destroyed the paper trail. But I've got one other idea. It's going to take us a while. It took a year and a half. But I worked with the United States Social Security Office. And guess what they sent me? A document with a court seal on it, meaning that this can be introduced into a court of law as evidence. Mm-hmm. And it says right on it, my mother worked at Martin Memorial Hospital and a coronary care technician from 66, 67, 68, 69, okay? Then you take Irving LeMay's death certificate. He died at Martin Memorial Hospital, 1966, right where my mother was at the right time. How did we fake that? Mm-hmm. So that proves my mother and LeMay knew each other. Mm-hmm. They had proximity. So Cindy now asks, dang, she goes, got anything else? I said, we're just starting. So let's go to Ashland, Ohio. Why are we going there? Well, that's the home of the library of Congressman John Ashbrook. So we went there, cameras running, walk up to the curator, tell him what we want. He walks to the back, big vault door open, he comes out with these letters and he lays them on the table, and we put the camera on them, and the first letter, looking at Cindy, oh, why is your mouth hanging open, Cindy? It has Congress of the United States on the letterhead, has all the signatures, and the chair position of John Ashbrook was chairman of Internal Security of Congress. Now, that's a powerful position. Mm-hmm. So he said, the letter says, Congressman Ashbrook is out of the office at this moment. He's on the campaign trail. He ran for president of the United States in 1972. So let's see. So they said, we're in the process, the letter says, we're in the process of obtaining the Titan missile for you. Now, just stop right there. A Titan missile. Look it up on the internet. 130 feet tall. Twin 1/2 million pound thrusting engines. Takes a military escort to move it. It's the state-of-the-art intercontinental ballistic missile. State-of-the-art of Strategic Air Command. Mm-hmm. And they're handing it over. The day of the letter is 1970. I was born 1954. You're handing the state-of-the-art ICBM Titan missile over to a 16-year-old? Isn't that a little odd? Mm-hmm. And Cindy's going, my God. I said, well, if you like that, Cindy, look at the next 13 letters behind it. And it pretty much tells my story. How did I fake that?
Exactly.
That's so powerful. It goes on and on and on in the documentary like that. That documentary is ready to be released this October.
Excellent. Oh, that's going to be wonderful. Where can that be found, on your website or?
Yeah, go on the website and they'll keep you posted on it. And I'm not sure who's going to end up on the broadcast end. It could be History Channel, Discovery Channel, Learning Channel, a whole bunch of people. So she's working that out.
That's wonderful.
But, I spent over 10 years helping her, and it is the most comprehensive data collection. And she went at it in a unique way. She said, well, there's two things that's vital that you can't provide. first my prototype rocket engine. Why? Because I blew it up at Area 51.
Okay, can we get into that and how you did that?
Yeah, it's just time is not going to allow us to get so many detailed stuff, but the documentary will cover all that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some other things I'd like to tell you about.
Okay.
And also, there's something funny I want you. My life's been so serious, and my friends were worried about me because they knew how close my wife was with me, and they just felt bad for me. And I know a lot of Hollywood people, and Cindy's husband, he is a world-class lyric writer and music composer in Hollywood. And he's the one, it's his fault. He started this whole idea. He came to me one day and said, David, I write all this music. I said, yeah, you're really good at country and western. You're good at rock and roll. You're hip-hop. You just crossed the board. He goes, yeah. And he said, you like my stuff? I said, to me, it's like magic. I don't know how a human being sits there and writes music. It's out of your head. You do it quickly. So he said, well, good, because, I know your story. I've known you for years. And I wrote your story in a rap music video, which you're going to sing. And I went, what? And he goes, yeah. I said, if you look at me, I'm a pudgy, white-headed, old white guy, and you're going to have me as a lead singer in a hip-hop rap video. He goes, yeah. Man, I tell you, are you sure you're feeling well? Anyway, he said, it's going to work. So we were having lunch, and he asked me my full name. I said, David Tyson Adair. And he said, your dreams, they came to you when you were a child. I said, yeah. And he said, there's all this math and sequential numbers. I said, yeah. And he said, okay. So before he finished lunch, he's scribbling away. And then all of a sudden he says, listen to this. David in the Bible, Tyson in the ring, Adair building rockets like you ain't never seen. And I went, are you serious? And then he said, the name of the song is called What Goes Up Must Come Down, Government Cover-Up Underground.
Oh, I like it.
That's the chorus. And the first lyrics is, they came in a dream on a cool summer's night, child's imagination taking flight. Scientific data, line by line, the sequential order, numbers were prime. And I went, holy cow, that's accurate. But then it gets better. He kind of goes to a broader scope with me. Politics, energy, whole lot of money, Congress holding meetings just like the Illuminati. So he just, he just went on. And so you can go to my website. You will see the music video there, and you can play the entire thing. And people want to Facebook it or send it on to somebody else, or it doesn't care what you do with it. It was made for a fun thing to do in-house for the production people and their families and friends. And the thing apparently hit YouTube, and God help. You know how you have views?
Mm-hmm.
We had 1 million views the second day.
That's great.
Yeah, and I thought Roger Newcomb, that's the writer, composer. I always kidding him. I said, you don't have a brother named Duke, do you? So Duke Newcomb. But anyway, he said, he goes, see, I was right. And I said, yeah, it's crazy. But we had so much fun. You should see the outtake in the blooper reel.
Oh, I bet.
But I had to work in a sound booth to learn the lyrics, to sing them. Then I had choreography to learn to dance. And I had changed my shirt about 3 times in that booth for 5 weeks to learn how to rap. It's very difficult. I have a lot of respect for rappers now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But that's, people can look at that, and we get some critics, but it's actually a good criticism. They just said, oh, you should be more serious. No, that's not what this was about. Well, plenty serious. This was something I was so depressed with my wife, and they just wanted me to get my brain on to something else. And so it was a personal thing, but it went viral. So
that's wonderful.
Anyway, I had some people, the other music people said, "My God, David, your thing's becoming the next What Does the Fox Say?" And when they made What Did the Fox Say, that was made for a birthday party. It was never meant to go commercial. And look at what happened.
That's right.
So they thought that my story in this form, with me doing it, that they're looking for the same result. And I said, God, I hope not.
I think it's a great idea, though. I think it's awesome that they did that.
Yeah, it was it helped me because I was you just can't imagine working 24/7 with somebody for 17 years, not a single argument, and it's nothing but fun from start to finish. Wish it could have went on for another 20 or 30. I'd like to have met her when she was 4. I would have swept her off her tricycle, and that'd been the end of it.
Well, at least you got some good years together. That's important.
Yeah. Let me tell you about something. I'm in the mountains. I'm near with the Cherokee Indians. And the Cherokee Indians have a legend. A medicine man knew me, and he knew I lost Joanna, and he had the story to tell me, which is so cool. They even made a movie about it called The Butcher's Wife.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, well, then you know what I'm going to talk about. The Cherokee legends go that when the Great Spirit, God, was making souls for this planet, he ran short. He didn't have enough that he needed. So what he did, he split them all apart, and he spread them equally across the planet. And that is why people are always looking for their soulmate. And when you find that soulmate, that's why people say, you complete me. And that's where these phrases came from. And it's called split aparts.
Right.
Fortunately for me, I found my split apart. Unfortunately, it just didn't last long enough. But that means you have, nearly 8 billion people, so you got 1 in 8 billion chance of finding your soulmate. That's why everybody's looking for it. And I'll tell you one thing. If I would trade my soul for everyone on planet Earth that had the relationship that Joanna and I had. I would do that for you guys. Because if I did that, this world would never know the miseries it knows now.
Yeah, indeed. Aw. Well, I agree with you on that one, yeah.
Another thing, on my rocket engine, where is it at now? Of course, the rocket's blown up, but what am I doing with the research and all the knowledge? Well, it's right here in my lab in my head, and now that Joanna's gone, I've got time. I have just enough time left. I could rebuild everything again. And that's where it brings up another story. I have had so many people offer me so much money. Unbelievable. Because, see, the rocket engine's not a rocket engine. Never was. The rocket engine is a medium that I'm testing the theory in. I'm seeing if the fields will sustain and hold, because then I will have fusion containment. Fusion containment is not a rocket engine, although it can. That would be 4 phases. That would be around phase 3 or 4. First phase is what I was building. It's an electromagnetic fusion nuclear power plant. It is the replacement. All you people know on Earth here, you've been dealing with nuclear fission. Nasty design, the evil twin. That thing has pile rods. They burn hot. If they lose their water, they get so hot they become hot as the sun, can melt clear through the Earth to China syndrome. You can, because of the pile rods, you can make nuclear fuel for warheads. You can also have terrible waste. That the pile rods and the waste that comes out of a fission reactor, you throw it on the ground, walk over it, hang around it for a while, and 30,000 years later, it can still kill you. And so you have meltdown problems, you have contamination, radiation, and waste and can make warheads with it. It's just nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we went that way, because it's easy to release energy. It's an entirely different story to try to contain it. Well, now we're coming to fusion. And the reason we went fission, it was much easier to do. But now, with new technologies, there's a way to build a fusion containment device. Now, what the nuclear power plant of a fusion containment design can do, first of all, no radiation. None.
Nice.
Why is that? The reason that is, this thing is not cold fusion. Don't get it confused. It's exact opposite. It's hot. 50 million degrees centigrade is when it's running. That's about 10,000 times hotter than the surface of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing left. Nothing. No radiation. You don't have pile rods, so you don't have waste. There's no way to have a meltdown with this reactor. Physically impossible. It only has two little small pea-sized fuels. That's it, not giant fuel rods. So all that's eliminated. And you have no waste problem, like you don't need a Yucca Mountain to put nasty stuff away. And you cannot make nuclear fuel with it. It's the exact opposite of the other, what we're using today.
Mm-hmm.
So you have clean thermal nuclear fission power, or fusion power. And that's what I'm building. So I've had private companies, big companies. Can you imagine what a patent would be worth on that?
Mm-hmm.
Trillions.
Yep.
And guess what? I'm not going to license it. I'm not going to sell it. When it's rebuilt, I'm going to dump the plans on World Wide Web. Everybody gets it free. Everybody. Yeah, Soviet Union, China, Iran, North Korea. Everybody gets it. Because then everybody can have clean power. Reduce oil to a lubricant.
Mm-hmm.
Coal on. And nobody's holding this technology over anybody's head and charging billions, if not trillions later.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't make warheads with it. So that take care of the problem in the Mideast. And
Mm-hmm.
who would not want it? And I'll do that for two reasons. One is other labs will rebuild it, get the same results I do, thereby validating the technology. And the second thing is, if you're living in a house and you got your kitchen clean, but people in the bedroom are burning cold and other nasty stuff, your house is going to be a mess. So that's the same way on Earth. That's
Mm-hmm.
why you want everybody to have it.
Yep.
And I'm not going to charge a damn penny for it. I didn't come here for money. Although I've done pretty well.
I think that's incredible, David. It's quite a gift for the world.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe something bigger than me, Tuck Joanna, because I wasn't even going to worry about it. I got kidnapped twice trying to give it to the world. Life was changed. I never got to be what I wanted to be, which was I had a full scholarship at Ohio State in thermonuclear physics. And I wanted to be a professor, teach. Instead, second kidnapping ended me up a decade into the military, where I built all kinds of things, but I didn't build any weapon systems.
Mm-hmm.
But
was that Area 51?
that was after Area 51.
Okay.
What they wanted me to see at Area 51 was an alien power plant. And what a story that is. I guess, let's see. Oh, I have one more thing. We can get back to what time we have left for the story, but there's one more little gift I'd like to give out tonight. This always pisses off a lot of people. It really upsets people because it's a chance for you guys to have a break like the 1%ers get. They don't like me because they tried to buy this and I'm not listening. Somebody said, once again, aren't you afraid that somebody will kill you? My answer, I die, I wake up in the arms of Joanna like that's a bad deal. I don't care. So, no, I'm not worried about it. Anyway, because of my different projects and works, and I'm working on different kinds of fields, years and years ago, I worked with satellite infrastructure. And I helped build an infrastructure once that went into a subcontractor, which became your World Wide Web. We really built it for Cold War issues at the time. So that's how it felt. But in that system, I ran across this guy named Gene Curcio. And man, you've got to meet this guy. He's like a hybrid of Howard Hughes and P.T. Barnum. What an interesting combination. But he is one of the original pioneers of Iridium. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. That's the people who made the satellite phones that looked like a brick. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Wow.
You could be in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and call anybody you want. That's what the range, because this thing hooked into, when you have a group of satellites, they're called constellations. And the way they're connected and the phone messages relayed through all that is called a gateway. Well, he is that's where I got involved in the gateway. So he did Iridium, the original satellite phone. He was the first to come up and go, why are we hooking these phones on telephone lines and being trapped? Let's hook them up to satellites and we can talk to anywhere around the world. Well, that worked fine, but the problem was they were charging you, I forgot what it was, some crazy price, like $600 a minute. So it's not like a cell phone. But then again, if your ship is sinking in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you can call for help.
Right.
So he has developed a new technology, and the best way I can tell you what happened was, wouldn't you like to have been in the garage when Apple started? Mm-hmm. Would you like to be sitting next to Zuckerman when he says, I got this idea about a thing called Facebook? Or wouldn't you like to be sitting with Microsoft when it started? Mm-hmm. That happened to me. I was called in. I'm looking at the infrastructure satellites, and they had showed me what they were building. I went, oh my God! I finally got one of those wishes. I wish I could have been, just a small segment in the room when something like that would happen. They got a new telephone system coming, and it's just started, and it's hooked to the gateways. And you know how you have to sign a contract for 2 years, and then if you want to use international roaming charges, they burn you on fees and all that. Mm-hmm. Well, imagine this. They've got a system where you can have unlimited voice, data, and internet access. It creates its own hotspot wherever it's at. The phone does. And then it's unlimited international range, no charge. And you get all of this for $25 a month, no contracts.
Nice.
And that's the next wave. And the big telecom providers are not happy about it.
Oh, I bet.
Eventually, they're going to partner out with them, so what's going to happen. So I was sitting there going, hey, guys, y'all owe me this much for the services. Can I exchange my service fees for stock? And they said, sure. So I got a lot of stock. But right now, it's in the penny bracket because Apple and Microsoft and Facebook and IBM, they all started off as penny stock. They weren't big in the beginning. And then they roll over to $1 and then $2, and then they move on to the NASDAQ, and the rest is history. Mm-hmm. Well, these people just started this month. So I'm not going to hawk this because I'm not a hawker. Like I said, down here for my. But once again, I think y'all need a break on something. So the stock market symbol is WFWL. Go to Wi-Fi. By the way, this Gene guy, he owns that name, Wi-Fi. He created. He's the guy, just like Dr. Alan J. Hynek coined the term close encounters of the third kind.
Right.
Curcio coined the term Wi-Fi, so he has it trademark. So it's Wi-Fi, W-I-F-I, all one word, Wi-Fi Wireless Inc. .com. Go there, look on the sites, and learn about the stocks, and that's all I'm going to talk about it.
Cool. Thank you.
I would recommend y'all seriously back quickly because the roller coaster is about to go.
I bet it is. So that's WiFiWirelessInc.com.
That's right, and the stock symbol is WSWL.
Cool.
So I don't know. I just love doing that. A lot of people get pissed off at me. The rich people do. Tough. You know.
I think it's wonderful. Merry Christmas.
What are you going to do? Kill me? Oh, that's a real threat. Be doing me a favor. So anyhow.
Well, we like you around here for a while, David.
I guess so. Yeah, you want me to make more videos.
I think you're awesome. You know, you're such a brilliant mind. You're just so gifted. Honestly, I say that with all sincerity. It's a pleasure to talk to you tonight. I know I'm going to have you back because you only have like 15 minutes left here. But it's
yeah, we need to finish some story. Plus, I got about 8 guys. I have probably 50 other projects. But there's some I can pick out that's really fun that's coming up. And also, I've got to get away from home here. My wife designed this house, and every inch I turn around, it's starting to get to me a little bit, and I'm talking to myself, and I'm going to end up like my brother's not here anymore. That's another thing. My entire family's gone. I really don't have any family anywhere. Mm-hmm. So my brother, like, he was great. My oldest brother, 9 years older. I heard him in another room talking. I went in there, and I thought, where's the other person? He goes, you were talking and answering. I said, I'm talking to myself. Well, what are you talking to yourself so much for? Well, I'm the most interesting man I've ever met. That was my oldest brother. He was great. But he was an anthropologist, and he loved the study of man. So maybe I think a lot of that stuff rubbed off on me. Mm-hmm. He told me himself, he said, David, you grew up to be a really good man. I said, well, is that a brother saying that to me or an anthropologist? He went, both. And I think you might could alter the mankind at the rate you're going. So,
yeah, I think you can. You know what's amazing, David, is you have so many great gifts and so many things to offer this world. You know, I always wonder why our space program is so backwards right now.
Oh my God! Oh, geez, we could go for 10 hours on that. Matter of fact, I made some new programs. That's what the Whole Life Conference people. Years and decades ago, I used to have talks. Lord have mercy, the room got into hundreds, approaching 1,000 people at a time I'm talking to, and we went over some things. One of the favorite ones was the history of the space program, and because I know it so well. But here's one for you. Of course, and I'm serious, I'm not joking about this. You know the moon is hollow, right?
So they say.
Oh, not so they say. It is. You all just learned about it. I knew about it. Christmas. What a Christmas present. I knew about Christmas 1969.
Nice.
You know who told me about it?
Mm-mm.
Werner von Braun.
Interesting.
And I can drop a lot of names, and I can prove it. I'd tell you who else my surrogate mother. Her name was Viola, and she lived about 40 minutes from me by car and when I was building my rockets. And she lived in Wapakoneta, Ohio. I was in Mount Vernon, Ohio. And her name is Viola Armstrong, and she has a son named Neil.
Wow.
Yeah, the guy that walked on the moon. And I'd go to her house, and I'd see Neil there, and I'd run past him, and he goes, hi, David. Boom, I'm gone. And Viola told me, Neil said, you know, Mom, if I didn't think I'd get out of the way fast enough, I think David would put a footprint on my head to get to you. And, yeah, about the truth. You'd think I'd just be, gaga over Neil, right? Mm-hmm. He was fine, but that wasn't why I was there. I was there for Viola. And we were just best of friends. And people are going to say, this is such nonsense and bullshit, So, oh, really? Well, then you need to talk to somebody named Jay Matchett. Jay Matchett is the great nephew of Viola Armstrong. And they're writing a book about her. And they went in her personal archives and possessions. found this huge box, and they opened it up, and all these hundreds of letters tied with ribbons. So they meant really pretty ribbons, and so Jay went, this was important, and started reading it, and it's letters between me and Viola.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, how did I fake that? He's writing a book. I'm in the book. And he said, the family doesn't know anything about you. But look at the letters. You guys were... I said, we both agreed not to let anybody know that we were best buds because I wanted to have some normalcy in my life, and so did she. Because it wasn't easy for her being the mother of the first man on the moon. It was really hard. Paparazzi everywhere. So kept it quiet, and what I learned from Viola, a lifelong gift. She's German. They're all Germans, descent, Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
And in Ohio, they had a big co-op, farm co-op. And in harvest time, he had all this food with these families. And when we didn't can 300 or 400 jars. It was 3,000 and 4,000 jars. And
wow.
She taught me how to can, and I can can chicken and every vegetable known to man. And I have her recipe for beets, and I won a county fair thing with it.
Oh, nice.
So, and you know, I get criticism about things I say. This is in my documentary. The producer, Cindy Pruitt, she asked Stanton Freeman on camera, did David Adair have a special seat at Apollo 11? And he goes, no, he didn't. He's a liar. He doesn't have any special seat. So, guess what? I have my security badge clearance for Apollo 11 signed by the head of NASA security. Then I have this tape, which is a recording from WBTV in Columbus, Ohio. Bill Pepper, the news anchor, is saying on TV, and it's crystal clear off of a reel-to-reel that I've kept through the decades. And it said, David Adair, with special help from John Ashbrook, got that special seat at the launching of the Apollo thing, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and we have newspaper articles on it. So old Freeman sat there going, he does the thing he hates. Every speaker says that does this, and he does it. You know, investigation by proclamation. Well, he just made a proclamation. I was nothing, and I was a liar. How did we fake all of this?
Mm-hmm, exactly. I don't care for that person anyway, so without getting...
well, he stepped in it up to his eyeballs on that one because
I agree. Yeah.
I have all this proof, and people ask me, you know, and this is a good criticism. I totally agree with them. Where's your work? Why aren't you published? You know, well, that's a normal route for everybody. But for me, my work was at 12 to 17 and then 2 more years into the Navy. I built 3 devices, the rocket engine. There was another engine in the Navy, and that's a story we can talk about, and a third one for the aluminum industry. But what happened to all 3 of those devices, the first one got blown up, the second one got cut up, and the third one was buried in legal. And after that, I quit. At the ripe old age of 24, I never worked on another thing like that ever again.
Wow.
And so I just did lecturing, speaking, and telecommunications, and for medical stuff, and just a collage of everything. And I didn't publish any papers because I just don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you publish papers? Why do you publish papers? To get recognition. You know, look at me, look what I did. You know, I don't care if you even remember my name.
Well, we'll remember you all right. And so let me ask you something. Why did you stop? Did you just not want to, was your heart not into it, or what happened?
My heart was broken. I tried 3 different times, really gave fabulous machines. Oh, man, I could go for hours describing what these things did. Mm-hmm. And they were destroyed because they upset things. The machine in the Navy caused we'll save that for another time. But my machines upset society and structures. And my devices aren't made to make money. They're made to serve. Well, I'm in a good company. There's a guy named Nikolai Tesla.
Yeah.
he didn't want to charge for electric power. He wanted to distribute it free through the air.
Mm-hmm.
And they utterly destroyed him.
Yep.
So I'm in the same arena. I didn't build this stuff to make money. If I did have, I'd be filthy rich. You would know about me, and I have credit and titles. But you know what? None of that means anything. When you die, you think money and power is power. Wait till you die. You'll meet real power on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
I'm not interested.
You have so much character, David. I just so appreciate what you're saying right now. Go ahead.
Well, the only thing that I want is I just want to. I had a corporation of all things ask me, "What do you want on your tombstone?" And they were being nice, actually. And I said, inventor, researcher. I said, no, just David Adair, a good and faithful servant. That's all I want.
Mm.
So that's the story of my life. That's why I'm here. That's what you can come here, fame and money and all that stuff. That's, and you think this is it. This is all there is. You better rethink your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Because, look, in this planet, the only planet got life on it. Oh, please. That's ego. No, we're just, there's a vast galaxy universe of things out there.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
The only thing I know is I know practically nothing. Boy, I had my butt handed to me by that condition of my wife. I have 165 IQ. Same as Sheldon Cooper, but I think my personality is a little better. Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's fine. You always have to put labels and tags and, little boxes when you put people in so we understand things. And I really got into an argument with, it was kind of a one-way argument when I got through. It was with a Southern Baptist church. And they are enlightened to quite a bit. We were talking about how they would like to meet aliens and sitting there. And a bad mistake, they turned and asked me. And I went, you guys want to meet aliens? What in God's name do you think gives you the right to meet an alien race? You can't even stand the difference of color of a pigment of the skin. You can't withstand the difference of sexual orientation or religions. And yet you want to meet an alien race that might not even have DNA, don't relate to a single thing, and you're going to sit around and hold hands and sing Kumbaya around the campfire. Those damn things might look at you, and all they see is something delicious. So I said, you better rethink that. And if you meet anything that comes here, it means it's pretty advanced. And if you don't think an advanced nation meeting a lesser advanced nation, well, then you better talk to the American Indians, because it didn't fare too well for them, or the Aztecs, or I could go on clear through history and name 100 different cases. So you better rethink about, I want to meet E.T., because not all of them are going to be E.T. long-necked little rubber-looking thing. End up meeting on Independence Day when the president asked him, what do you want us to do? Die.
Yep.
So, you can imagine, it's an interesting talk in the metaphysical world with me.
Oh, I can't. Well, I'm going to have you back because that's my specialty too. And we can have some really incredible conversations here. But I want to thank you so much. And if people want to reach out to you, once again, let's give them a rundown on your website and also how to get in touch with you.
Yes. Best way to get in touch with me is www. Americas with an S, americasfallfromspace.com. America's Fall from Space is the name of the movie. I don't know who it is, New Line Cinema, one of them is making a movie on me. And it's also the name of the documentary.
I love it. Yeah. Did you come up with that?
Actually, I did. I had a dream. And it was from a point of view. And I was coming into the Earth's atmosphere, and it started glowing. I thought, oh God, I'm on a ballistic course on this atmospheric reentry. I'm burning up. And then underneath me came these big letters that were on fire, and they were falling back in the Earth's atmosphere, and they said, "America's fall from space," which we did.
Mm-hmm.
We can't even get a human into space now.
Yeah.
And when the shuttle was running, which was a fabulous device, you can go from 90 to 690 miles into orbit with it. And then, all the way back to 1969, we could hurl 450 tons of space equipment and 3 men 500,000 miles to the moon and back. And today, you can't even get a person up to the Erector Set space station.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. It's almost like it's all gone into the black world of technology and space programs.
Well, we went backwards. We went backwards in the space program. We have not gone forward anywhere. And I had an argument once with MIT people in a conference. They thought they were so big and bad and smart there with their little computers, the iPads and calculators and all that stuff. So I told everybody, clear the desk, and they did.
Well, and David, we're out of time on that note. You're going to have to come back. I want to thank you again so much. It's been an honor and pleasure to have you on. And,
all right.
Yeah, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please stay tuned for Shining Side Out with David Adair. Coming up next, we'll sail you on into the night from Down Under, as they always do with their wonderful show. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you again.